Hey yo.
What's up, buddy?
Oh, paging Cranjis McBasketball. How you doing?
when you when you DM me that, I was like, "Ain't no way I'm next."
But yes, but you are next though. You are here.
Oh, that is awesome. How you been, buddy?
I've been really good. I'm really happy to see you. It's been a hot minute.
No, yeah, it really has. It's been I don't really talk to too many Marine people anymore.
Yeah.
Few here and there. I have a couple buddies from the armory that I still keep in touch with regularly, but not so
Yeah.
much.
Isn't it crazy too? It's yesterday was the 4 year anniversary of when we came back from the MEU, when we landed back on American soil after COVID and everything like
Oh
that.
yeah, the 13th. I was just looking, when you told me about the photo, I was just looking and I saw the one of the beach landing. I'm like, oh, that was yesterday. I'm like, damn, time is really flowing. So
It's been an entire enlistment since that deployment, dude. That's wild, man.
that's absolutely insane.
Yeah. What a crazy 24 hours it's also been like in our own real lifetime too. Like
I know. I was thinking about it. I was honored to be the first person on your podcast after you know, assassination attempt on president.
we didn't even know that was gonna happen. We planned this before that.
No, I know. I know.
It's so
That's
wild because that took over the news so much. I forgot that Richard Simmons died like that morning.
Oh, so I didn't even know that. My wife came home yesterday and she's like, "Oh yeah, Richard Simmons died too." I'm like, "Geez, what is going
Yeah,
on?"
dude. Like, uh,
And then I also realized you changed the name of the podcast.
I did do that, yes.
Was that right before this, or?
Yeah, it was I had planned on doing it probably for like I'd been thinking about doing it like a month or two prior. I wasn't a big fan of the because it was Charns threw the name together last minute because we had to do some like red tape stuff to get the podcast set up. So he just came up with CSMO out of nowhere. So I don't know. I wasn't really the biggest fan of the name because it's like a lot of people ask like, "Oh, what does that mean?" But like, unless you're a Mortarman, like we know what it means. But
No, exactly, yeah.
yeah,
And I
like
think
even
that was the whole thing with the meme page too. How it was 7 months, then you
mhm.
changed that to 4 years as well. So I'm like, oh yeah, it fits everyone.
Yeah, it sucks to like in a hard way because it's like the name 7 months a slave that was like it was the whole deployment crew that was there
No,
and
exactly, yeah.
yeah, but like I don't know, running that page for as long as I did, it had the name change had to be done. So
No, exactly. You're doing good on that though.
I appreciate that, man.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's always fun to hear the feedback from people.
Didn't you have another one when we were still in? Was it another
I
page?
tried to get that up and running, but I'll
Yeah,
keep some people's names out of it, not to
yeah.
be a
We don't
blue
need to talk
falcon.
about. I remember. Yeah. Oh, oh, I totally forgot about that one. That just sparked my memory.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy what the world brings. The
Uh,
world shuts down because of COVID, and then we just have to revert to writing memes on a whiteboard and throw them up on the mess decks to keep people.
is that what you guys did on the baton?
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, you weren't there for that
No,
because
I
you
was
were
on the
on.
New York. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, skater.
I assume we'll get to that. Me
Yeah.
skating.
hmm How convenient though, being a New England man, you get to go on the New York.
Well, so here's the thing. I moved up here after I got out. I
hmm
was a New Yorker.
Yeah.
So I was a New Yorker on the New York, which is really cool. So I think what made it even more special. So my dad was a New York City cop at the time of 9/11.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he was there right after the fact. He was there months and months cleaning up. And then I got told I was on the New York, and then we were there for the first couple field ops. I'm like, oh, it's really cool. So
Yeah.
much history that just connects to home for me. So
Oh, dude, that's dope. And they
yeah.
I know Gunny B, he made a comment about it, but I want to confirm if it's true. But like that ship, they actually some of the ship it's used from parts of the Twin Towers, right? That from when it collapsed.
Yeah, so the I think it's a small part of the bow is made from the steel of it. It's not like the entire thing. I think it's just part of the bow.
Oh yeah,
Um,
of course.
but the inside of it, I don't know how the baton was, but it was all New York themed. So it was New York Jets, the
Okay.
Giants, you have Yankees, Mets, and then all like memorabilia from 9/11. It was really nice. So
Oh, dude, sick. Yeah, I know on the Baton, like because they named it after the Baton Death March. They like interiorly they had like a small I don't want to say memorial, but they had like a uniform of like a sailor and a Marine from I think that era, and it showed the details of like what the death march was pretty much.
Yeah.
And then as like a tradition, the chaplain, he would always before, I don't know if they did it like on the other ships at night, they would do a like a farewell good night message sort of thing, and they would share somebody's name who died on the Bataan Death March and what they did when that
And
happened.
that was kind of like the same thing for the 9/11 on our ship too. So every night after the prayer, they would put a name in,
Oh, okay.
you know, for someone to pass. So
Yeah.
it's crazy how similar they were.
Yeah, I never thought about that until you brought that up. Just the like how honorable and the traditions that we kind of had, or that the Navy had, that we got to experience on the boat. And they
Oh
did
yeah,
small stuff like that.
that was really cool. It was a cool time, but never want to go back. That was
Yeah.
such a terrible deployment.
Yeah. What would it take for you to go back? Is there anything that they like incentive they could throw on, such as a certain amount of ports, a pay, anything
To
of that
go
sort?
back for my life right now, nothing.
Mm.
No, it's you know, one of the main reasons I got out in the first place was just from being away for so long, especially like loved ones, things like that.
Yeah.
You know, I started, you know, my now wife, I met her in Myrtle Beach right before that deployment. So back in June
Okay.
before it. I don't know. That was kind of like I got back. I'm like, all right, yeah, I just want to, you know, I'd rather be home with her all the time than, you know, some of the time. So
Yeah, I feel like it's definitely a reason everyone we don't think about that when we're young and in our 20s per se, and then when we're in and about, and it is a service, so there is a sacrifice that comes with that.
no, exactly. You know, I'm glad I did it. You know, if I go back, I would still do it again, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't want to make life out of it. I think you know, it's safe to say for most people. So
Yeah. You had an interesting path though, because you went 81s and then you go to Armory. Would you do it that way again, or how? I mean,
I'm
I know hindsight's always 2020, but how would you approach your entry
no,
looking
yeah.
back at
So it was definitely bittersweet going to the armory. Um, you know, I loved the people that I met, you know, throughout it. You know, I feel like it brought me closer to a lot more people that I wouldn't have just staying in 81s the entire time.
Yeah.
I love skating. I probably had the easiest last 2 years that anyone could possibly have.
Yeah.
You know, but all like the different stories, you know, especially, you know, I never got to experience, you know, like junior Marines under me, things like that. And it
Hmm.
was like all the stories that I hear from all the 81s guys be like, oh, this field up, this field up. I'm like, all right, I'm glad I didn't go to that field up, but
Yeah.
you know, I wish I could have been there to experience the thing, but
Hmm.
you know.
Air conditioning sounds much better right now. So
Well, exactly, yeah. It was you know, we had our fair share of, you know, terrible things to deal with the armory. You
yeah.
know, like if anything was wrong with any weapon, it would come directly on us in there, and it was a lot more responsibility, even though it was such a small, tight knit group. But
Because you are I don't want to say a funnel, but you can imagine what I'm getting at. You're a focal point for like the logistics we have, because you guys literally have all the weapon systems there.
exactly, like I think there was a one night I was just talking to Alan about this. Alan actually went to my wedding, you know, a couple
Okay.
weeks ago over in Ireland. So we were like just talking about random stories, you know, just trying to trigger our memories, things like that. And there was this one where I don't know what was lost in the field from one of the platoons. I couldn't tell you. I can't remember, but
Hmm.
we got woken up at 2 in the morning because they lost this, and then they need to check our sight counts. So sight counts pretty much every single day. We had to count every rifle, optic, weapon, everything to make sure everything was there.
Yeah.
So they checked our sight counts, and they were wrong. So we're getting pulled into Gunny's office, you know, getting screamed at by him, you know, the CO comes in, starts screaming at us too. I'm like, it's 2:30 in the morning, you know, and we have to deal with this, you know, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, can't really complain because I was sleeping in my bed. Yeah, it was it was a good time.
Yeah.
I don't think I would change anything, you know,
Hmm.
looking back at it. So
What did make you want to go to the armory to begin with?
Gagne.
Got
Gagne was the reason. Well, because I remember it was we were in Okinawa, and who was I forgot, it was Gagne, I can't remember the other people in the armory at the time. But they were looking for replacements for them when they got back and got out. So they need to pull one person from each platoon. So Gagne comes to me because him and Whitman were best friends at the time. So Gagne starts talking to me. He's like, "Hey, you want to come in here?" And then I start talking to Whitman. He's like, "Hey, you're gonna have it so easy." So I start going with Gagne to the armory more often. And it kind of just sealed the deal. So, but yeah, it's a tough job. A lot of people are like, "Oh, you're just skating back there." No, it was, I had so much inspections, things like that. We had battalion inspections where, every single time we would turn your rifle away at the window because it wasn't clean, because my ass would be chewed out for it if it wasn't clean. So
No,
there's a
yeah.
lot of behind the scenes things which people didn't know.
So it was never personal when you told us that we didn't clean our stuff. Then it
No,
was
absolutely not. And then, some people scared the living shit out of me whenever they would start screaming at me, be like, "All right, I'll just clean it, after work hours. When all you guys, go back to your rooms, I'll just be sitting here cleaning your rifle for you." So
Mhm. So what for you guys, like what was the hardest system for you to clean if you were ever tasked with that? Or if you ever did
getting,
like spotting anybody?
I think what we got hit for the most was the mortar tubes.
Really?
Yeah, because they would take out the firing pins, inspect the firing pins, inspect the bores of it and everything. Like pretty much white glove the entire thing for it.
Oh, okay. They're really going into it.
Yeah, and that's pretty much every weapon system. But other weapon systems are easy. You take them apart, wipe down every piece, and you're fine. No more carbon. It's just the mortars. They just, never got cleaned, no matter how hard you try. So
Yeah, I mean you knew how it was. I mean, for the time you were in 81s, they're very not they're not impossible, but sometimes like if there's just like certain spots in there because it's a tube, you can only like there's only one way in, one way out to clean it.
Oh, exactly. I would even, when you guys would all come over to clean the weapon systems, I came out there a few times just to like try helping. I was just bored and sit inside the armory while you guys were cleaning for hours. So
Yeah. I've never got to try this, but there was a staff sergeant in a LAR when we were on the baton. He told us there was this bootlegged way to get out any stains in the mortars. That if he took like maybe like a cup's worth of Coke, a Coca-Cola, and then you put some quarters and change in there, you pour it in the tube, and if you just let it slosh and mix around, because I guess Coke, like how they'll pour it down the sink to
yeah,
get rid of what's the like grease and stuff like that. Apparently, supposedly it works the same way.
it like just melted away, just like lemon pledge on wood floors.
Yeah.
So yeah, same exact thing.
Never got to apply that, but I'd be curious if there's any Mythbusters out there listening to try that for us.
I bet you the army has all these special cleaning tools and whatnot, not those brushes which fall apart after one use.
Yeah. Did you see what the bore brushes, what a brand new one actually looks like?
Oh yeah, yeah. Just how good they actually work. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know they look so. I almost said majestic, but because how like with a bore brush, they're all like the actual brush part of it. It's very beaten down. It's compressed onto the like the
Whatever it
plastic.
is. Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, but like a brand new one, it's like gold. It sticks out. It's like it almost is like a nice mane, like on a horse or something.
That was one hard part about especially I think weapons company, our armory bay was the hardest out of any other one because
Mhm.
all that SL3 with each weapon system, we had to order each and every single one of them. So instead of
Okay.
going through every weapon system, we would need to go through every single piece of SL3 as well and order anything that's broken, things like that. And it was just a shit show. It was just so tedious.
Yeah, tedious sounds like it sounds like the word for just the armory life, if that makes sense. Is that the
Yeah,
both?
no, that's 100%. Yeah, tedious.
Yeah.
Definitely is.
Like, is it not labor intensive, but it's just a lot of counting, a lot of random. You got to get up because there's something missing from the field, whatever it may be.
Exactly. And that SL3 goes missing so easily too.
Oh yeah.
So trying to go through it all when we already have so much stuff we had to take care of throughout the day. I should have grabbed. Oh, I do have a water. I see you drinking the water. It's making me thirsty now.
Yeah, dude, I've been pounding that thing. The picture you showed me, I looked at that because I've been having to like keep an eye on my diet and stuff like that. I'm like, damn, dude, like this really makes me want to go out and snack.
The all the ship snacks that we got.
Yeah, dude, I want to take a look at that again just to see. You know what I'm really curious of? Maybe it's just because they're cheap, even though Not sure what flavor that is. Why is it that for like military snacks when we would go to the Philippines or when we're on the boat, it's always strawberry flavored Pop Tarts they get. They never get a different flavor of
Oh
Pop
yeah.
Tart.
Oh yeah, and they're always whole grain as well.
Why is that? Like,
I don't
what's
know.
the? I'm pretty sure all Pop Tarts are priced the same. If I'm not
No,
mistaken.
exactly. Just the whole grain.
Yeah, like just
Yeah,
strawberry, dude. Like there's cookies and cream, blueberry, like
the brown sugar cinnamon was the best.
sugar.
But
Oh, there we go. That's a nice.
I feel like we had those on ship. Actually, is that what that is? I can't tell.
So
Oh
for
yeah,
some of them,
those are the cinnamon.
are they okay?
They just the frosting looks weird on it.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I'm looking at if you look at the Pop Tarts and then there's a green like strip under it for somewhere. I was thinking maybe that's like apple cinnamon or something, but then I see the actual cinnamon stick in the
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
labeling.
But still, they're whole grain. Yeah, they could have gotten a variety of flavors.
No, 100%. And we got Rice Krispie treats. Those are always good. Looks like there's a honey mustard packet that's random to find in there.
I think that's peanut butter. Peanut butter packet. I think.
Okay, all right.
Some grape jelly. Yeah.
Nature Valley Bar. I think there's a thing of Raisin Bran cookies. Okay.
The grandma, yeah. Oh, jeez.
So this was pretty early on then, because I assume with that Christmas tree, this was Christmas time frame.
Yeah. So on our ship, we were separated from 81. So for pretty much our platoon, but H&S platoon, was that what I was? Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only people on that ship were me and Alan. So it was me and Alan pretty much first the world for 7 months. So we were staying in a berthing with Cat and S3. And then 81s were all the way up on top of the ship. We were like all the way at the bottom.
Okay.
So I don't know who brought the tree. I think someone just brought it just for the spirit. And then it was late at night too. I think it was like 1, 2 in the morning on Christmas Day. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go do something special for everyone. Even though we haven't been on ship that long, I was just like, all right, I'm already sick of this. So let's try to liven this up a little bit. So I went up to the mess decks, stole all those candies and whatnot. If you look at the top of the Christmas tree, there's a pair of socks just to kind of decorate as well. They're hot
I was
dog
wondering what that was.
Yeah, they're hot dog socks.
Hot.
And then that room that we're in, that was our lounge for all of us.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't have a big lounge. It fit maybe 6 people at most inside of it. And then those racks, we just kept like random junk on.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering what the racks were for. That's like an odd angle to especially have it lounge in.
Yeah, I don't know who was supposed to sleep in those racks. No one ever did. I think we ended up taking them down, but yeah, I set them up, and then everyone, Alan and S3 wanted to contribute too. I'm like, all right, you can write your names on this piece of paper. So,
the paper in the corner of the table.
Yeah, Merry Christmas from Doug, Alan, and the S3.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, and that's what I ended up going by for the longest time. I guess ever since I went to the armory, I wasn't Brust. I was just Doug to absolutely everyone.
It's funny how some people get away with the going off a first name basis. Like their first name somehow fits more than their name tape.
Their last name, like Judd.
Yeah, just thinking of the same thing.
Yep, Judd. And then, God, I remember when all you guys had your junior Marines come up to the window, and you guys would have them call me Doug. I'm like, I can't do anything. I'm stuck behind this cage.
Yeah.
So I think that's when it really started. When all of them would start calling me Doug, I'm like, I guess I'm Doug now. So
yeah. So many people were in the army with it. Was it just you, Alan, and then what Floyd? It was only just a small handful of you guys, right?
So yeah, originally it was me and Alan after Oki. So we pretty much got everything up and running. And then they got Downs and Floyd in there as well. My billet was pretty much like the head armor at the time, but then they're like, all right, you're only a corporal. You can't be head armor for our bay. So then they made Floyd, because he was a sergeant at the time, like that was his billet. So I was like, all right, yeah, I don't need to go report to, the lieutenants and the CO every single day. I'm completely fine with that. So
yeah.
but yeah. So it was us four. That's all you really need. You know?
Yeah, not a lot of manpower, I guess, or a lot of complexity you need with that.
No, exactly. Some of the tasks when we had to lay everything out for inspections, things like that, it can get a little much, but we made it too, especially on deployment. Me and Alan, that's all we needed for our deployment on our boat. I don't really know how the baton was with your armory.
Armory
But
was a little. It was oddly set up. So like we had one in the berthing for it was just our rifles, and then we had maybe some other weapon systems that we put in there. It was just like personal stuff that we had.
yeah,
And then we had to leave. So Floyd and Downs were in charge of that armory. And yeah, but they were in charge of both of them. So our second armory, where we had all the weapon systems, so our 240s, our the 81s, we had. I want to say there was something. I could be wrong. Whatever else was there? But we had to go to the gym, like the gym of the ship, and there's this random room that's like way in the back corner of the gym. That was where our armory was for all our extra stuff.
that is so strange.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts too because we would have to go in there, have a line. Sometimes the gym's empty, sometimes it's packed with people just working out off their work, whatever. And we're just having to maneuver weapon systems. And then because it's upstairs, you have to carry it all. And I don't know if you remember how stairs are on the ships.
Oh yeah, it's a ladder. Yeah,
yeah,
it's not
dude,
stairs,
it's
it's a
like,
ladder.
yeah, you're having to like stiff back yourself to like because you only have like enough room on like for each stair for maybe like your heel, and you don't want to slip and fall with all that weight.
No, exactly.
Yeah, I'm amazed nobody tripped up. So that's got to be a record. I'm surprised nobody fell in that deployment with anything. Yeah.
Did you guys only have one gym on your ship, or did you have two?
Pretty sure we had just one. I could be wrong. We had just one as far as I know, and then we had the well decks, which a lot of people would work or run up stuff like that. So it was pretty loose in terms of where else you could work out.
I think that's what I liked the New York a lot. Just how much smaller it was. A lot less people. We had two gyms on ship, so we had one in the bow, one in the aft. The aft one that was like the big gym. The one in the bow was very small. A couple benches, and that's all it had. But they had like green hours and blue hours for each one of them.
Yeah.
They'll be like, all right, only Navy can go in this one at this time, only Marines this time, and vice versa. I was working out a lot on deployment. That was the only thing I could do, work out, and so it was a good time. And then I haven't worked out since. Right after I got back from that deployment, I was like, all right, I never need to, run or touch weights ever again. And I haven't.
Yeah,
so.
I feel you, dude. I mean, we might need to start doing it again just because the Boogaloo's coming up, so we might gotta be prepared.
Jeez. Well, good thing that, my IRR expired in February, I think it was.
Good for you, dude.
And that's when all of like the Russia stuff was going on. I'm like, I swear, if I get a letter, I'm gonna be so pissed.
I talk about this with my friends because they have because the age limit for the draft is 27, 26, something like that.
Is it that? Okay.
Yeah.
That was sure.
Well, what's crazy is my IRR, it expires in December of this year, the month after the election. Which
you're fucked.
Yeah, dude, that's such a powder keg that like I just go off like 2 months later, please.
They're gonna be like, we need someone gung ho, and then they're gonna look at all your pages and be like, all right, this guy's perfect for it. So
can you guys at least wait till Trump's inaugurated? At least until that time, then we can do this. Like
that is so funny.
Yeah,
as soon as that came out, I used to get phone calls from recruiters all the time, and it was like the letters for the musters, like the health musters. I don't know if you've ever gotten that.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Oh yeah. So you see like commanding general, orders. I'm like, all right, here I go. And then it's just like, oh, an optional muster. Just tell us if you can't go. So I never went to one of those.
I feel like being a Marine Corps or military recruiter's got to be tough in today's day and age, just because you got to turn into a salesman, and then this is all the world events that's going on. You got to try to convince people to come in after all this.
Oh, exactly. Especially, I think the biggest thing that shocked me when I first went into the Marines was the amount of people from down south that joined the military. So I graduated with 600 people in my graduating class in New York. 6 of us were like ready to go. I was the only one out of those 6 to go into the Marines, and then like 2 others went in after me out of 600.
Okay.
I'm like, and then you go down south, and it's all right. Half the class of 50 are joining the military. So
Yeah. It's crazy because like in the East you have pretty much like 3 different regions. There's like the Midwest, you have the South / the Atlantic, and then you have like New England area, and then
yeah, yeah.
the Atlantic too. Maybe like does it surprise you like that few people went in just because you can always correct me on this, but like you're being from New York, you're in a much more liberal state. So is it just not a bigger deal to do that? Or I mean, but
No, it's really not. A lot of pretty much every single person in my graduating class, goes off to college, things like that. Especially in New York, how congested it is. There's so many different colleges, so many
yeah.
different benefits for each one as well. So I'm not really surprised. I know New York is very liberal. Where I grew up is more conservative.
Mhm.
On Long Island, because that's where all like the firefighters, New York
Oh,
City
okay.
live, things like
Yeah.
that. So,
Which is I didn't know how that would work too, because New York's still very even with that said, they're like from what I've seen, they seem very like first responder friendly, very like proud of
exactly.
their first responders too. So
And pretty much, I don't know if you knew this, Long Island. So every fire department on Long Island is all volunteer. So
I
none
did
are,
not know that.
yeah. So that's, I guess that says half of it right there. And I
Yeah.
know Long Island really started getting populated after World War II. All the baby boomers, they moved out to Long Island. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. But now I'm up in New England. So
You're right outside of Boston. So are you in like suburbia, rural area, or what's just the kind
so
of vibe that you're living in?
so I'm about a half hour south of Boston. So up here we call it the South Shore.
Hmm.
So pretty much the South Shore is anywhere from Boston all the way to like where you start Cape Cod.
Okay.
Um, and then it's more suburban. I'm not a city person. I've never been. Being
Mm.
from New York, yeah, it's weird for me to say, but I I hate going into Boston. Absolutely can't stand it. I'd rather go to a tiny bar, next to me, just a regular dive bar, than go drink in there. So
Yeah.
I could
Plus,
never live.
from what I've heard, the people of Boston are very, I don't know. I have this image of everybody being confrontational and just wanting to bust your balls for any little thing over there. So it just sounds like a unique excursion.
No, yeah, exactly. It's if you go into Boston, it's a lot more wealthy.
Mhm.
Like in the actual heart of the city.
Okay,
The
yeah,
outskirts is where you get like the confrontational people, the stereotypical Boston person.
yeah.
Um, but I think I was used to that from being so close to New York City growing up. So, it wasn't too big of a culture shock for me moving up here.
Okay. Do you
What
do you
brought
get do you get the
oh,
stigma of being being a New Yorker, being in a Boston area because they always have their friendly little beef or
No, well, not really. I try keeping it to myself, but I've been a Patriots fan my entire life.
okay.
So that helped a lot. People are like, "Oh, you must be a Giants fan." I'd be like, "No, I'm actually a Patriots fan. I've been my entire life. I was the outcast in New York when I was living there for
You
like
hide your accent and you go to the Patriots. So it's not an issue.
exactly. A lot of people they're like they don't even hear my accent. It really comes out when I'm talking to someone from New York or, my fake southern accent when I'm talking to someone, from down
Yeah.
south, but I'd
And
like to say I have a
even
very neutral accent.
yeah, even being around like when we met and we were in 81s together, you didn't sound like you didn't have it doesn't surprise me like when you said that you were from New England, but you don't give that away with your voice at all.
No, exactly. Yeah. So which I can pretty much go anywhere and fit right in. So
Now,
what
was
brought
that
you
always
to
the case? Did you grow up with the New Yorker accent?
no. So my parents never had it. Me and my brother never got it. But some of my best friends growing up, they have, very thick New York accents. So I don't know. I don't know where it comes from.
Yeah.
So what brought you to Arizona?
So I actually, it's funny because so you remember when we were at WTI?
Yeah.
So I loved it when we went out to have Libo and Yuma and stuff like that, and I just like the whole Southwest kind of Mojave Desert looking feel.
So funny for that. I never went to MTI.
You
I
didn't go
skated
there?
out. No, I skated out of it.
I Man, my memory must be faded on me. Yeah.
I remember when you guys went, but I wasn't there. But you just like the landscape and whatnot.
Yeah, and the culture of it too, because it's very like there's a lot of so like the main population group out here, it's whites, Hispanics, and then Navajo Indians. That's like the main natives. So it's like I live in Phoenix now, so it's much big. It's very big city vibes out here with a
Yeah.
little bit of desert, but once you leave it, it's just cowboy, like a cowboy state, pretty much.
Just tumbleweeds going across the road type thing.
Yeah, it's crazy because I had my family come out here for the first time a few weeks ago, and they told me that it's interesting when you fly out to over Arizona and New Mexico, because you know how when you're flying almost anywhere in the country, especially on the East Coast, you'll see a handful of cities. There's farmland here. When you get to when you fly over a bigger city, it progressively gets more packed and more lights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when you fly over the deserts, you'll see nothing, literally just nothing but mountains and sand for like 50 miles as you're looking over, and then all of a sudden you look over and there's just a city plopped in the middle of nowhere.
That's so strange. There's like this would be a nice spot for a city.
Yeah, dude, it's like it's a. I try to think of this because I'll make jokes about some of my friends who have been born and raised here, but like human beings, we need 80%. Like we need water to survive. For example, we can't go without it for 3 days. But somewhere in history, some settlers came to the middle of nowhere where there's no water for like hundreds of miles, and they're like, "Yeah, we're just gonna build a city."
That's insane. I've never been out that way. You know, the only time I've been, I guess, on that side of the country was for Bridgeport, but that was totally different. You know, vibes than desert. So
No, yeah.
you're from Tampa originally, right? Right around that area.
Daytona
Wrong?
Beach. So
Daytona. Okay. Yeah.
yeah, East Coast Florida.
I knew it was somewhere from Florida. I couldn't see. I can't move away from the beach, even though I don't go too much. I just like the ocean feel. So
Oh yeah, and you live in a good spot too, because I feel like a lot of people forget New England's a very like they're a very beach faring, seafaring people over
no,
there.
exactly.
Big
Yeah,
culture there, and that is the one thing I will say I miss about since I live in a desert is just being. I'm never around a beach. Can't really find too many bodies of water. So
pools. You got pools though,
we
right?
do have pools, you know,
That's
but
good. Yeah.
yeah, we do have. Ironically, we have rivers and lakes out here, so that's. I mean, they're not as good as like on the East Coast, but it helps a little bit.
No, yeah. I was never one for going into rivers or lakes, but we went to Texas last year because my brother lives out there.
Okay.
Went to Austin and we did like this river float trip. So it was pretty much we had an Airbnb on a river. And we just all got tubes, a cooler full of beers, and we just floated down the river for like 6 hours. It was a great time.
Hell yeah.
So so I could see how people could manage without it.
It's ironic you mentioned that because we actually have a that's called the Salt River. It's another one that we have out here just for slow tubing, and it's perfect for when the weather gets really hot out here. And they have I assume every kind of river has their own thing that makes them unique, but for the Salt River, they have exotic horse like wild horses that are untamed that'll just pull up on the river and you can see them drinking while you're floating on a tube.
That's so cool. It's kind of like out of Red Dead Redemption.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's all I could picture.
You feel like you're in a cowboy game until somebody's just rolling down a tube with like a speaker blasting, freaking joint in one hand.
Bamba. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
Yeah, man.
When did you have you been there a while now or
Right when I got out, I literally just drove out here. So January 2021, been 3 years now.
no plan, just moved out?
Yeah, I went to Arizona State. That's how I started out, and
Okay, so that's what got you out there.
yeah, I mean, it was fun, but it's like I had a rough idea of what I wanted to do, but like, you know, it's Arizona State. Like we're not going there for an education or anything like that.
I think that's safe to say for most people that when they get out is, be like, all right, now what? So
Yeah.
a week after I got out, I was on terminal for the next like month and a half. I had all that leave saved up and I got home because my parents were living in Myrtle Beach at the time. So I went to Myrtle Beach. I was like, all right, I'm moving up to Massachusetts now. So then a week later, I, drove up there. My now wife flew down. We drove up together. I lived with her parents for 6 months, maybe a little bit over 6 months. And then we finally got our own place. So,
Okay, dope.
I was kind of like, all right, now what? And I got to go find a job. I was working DoorDash for a little while. Then I'm like, all right, I hate this. So
Yeah.
I got a job at Petco, out of all places, Petco. I was like, all right, I used to like working with fish, and they need someone to manage their fish, so I did that.
Yeah.
Then I was bringing a leopard gecko to a vet one day, and I was sitting in a parking lot for 8 hours, and there's a car dealership in front of me with like like. So I just started looking it up. I'm like, oh, maybe I want to do this. So I applied to them. They got back to me in a couple days. They're like, oh, we'll let you know in the next week. Started applying to other places. That's when I applied to CarMax, like the big used car dealership.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting hired from them pretty much next day. So that's where I've been ever since. Started there part time because I was going to school. Then I recently got promoted back in January to a sales manager.
Oh,
So
okay, dope.
yeah, so that's what I'm doing now.
So you used to be a salesman, but you got your way to like sales
Yeah,
manager?
exactly. It's a big corporation, but they love to hire within as long as you have good management above you.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much progressive the steps for that. Was part time, then I had to go full time to get into like the management program. So now that's pretty much what I'm doing now. So
Okay, sick.
all together.
Funny you mentioned that because I was talking. I just did an episode earlier this week with Flannery. I don't know if you remember him
No, I
from.
remember Flannery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He's doing car sales as well. I don't think he's a manager, but he ended up going up to Jersey, and he's a salesman too.
See, I've always loved cars.
Uh,
Yeah, I've always had a big thing for cars. Especially after I got out, that's really been my niche that I found for myself.
yeah,
Um, where I work is not traditional. It's a lot more retail. Like there's no like haggling back and forth. There's no anything like that. It's like you go into a store, grocery shopping, but for cars in a way. So like we don't have finance managers, anything like that. It's all automated. So it's easy.
so it's
It's
not like a like the traditional experience of going to a used car dealership, or.
exactly. Exactly. Some people hate it, some people love it, but
Mhm.
they pay me. So I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah. The bills are paid, the food's on the table, the toilet paper's high quality. It's
Exactly. That two ply. I think I got Charmin Ultra Soft right now. So
good, dude. You can make a suit out of that. That stuff's so good.
no, exactly. But yeah, I was going to school for a while. Technically, I'm still enrolled, but I don't think I'm going back next semester just
Hmm.
because after me getting promoted, just trying to fit in school, like going in person into Boston is tough. So I'll
Yeah.
take a break and then see, what I can do. But
What were you going to school for?
accounting,
Okay.
I've always liked numbers. I'm like, oh, this would be easy. And it's not. It's not fun.
You
And
just
then
find out it's just a more gayer version of working the armory.
exactly. And I've always, the main reason why, I wanted to go military, I just hated school, high school, things like that. And now I found that reason again. But now I have a job, so I'm like, all right, I don't need to go military this time. So
It's interesting the way that you talk about it because I know people say that you want to have a plan when you get out and stuff, and ironically, I feel like that does help. But at the same token, like I can say that I didn't really have a plan when I got out. But it's funny when you don't have a plan, you can. There's a lot of opportunities and stuff you'll notice how you'll stumble around,
no,
or if
exactly.
you improvise, if that makes sense.
Improvise, adapt, and overcome.
Yeah, dude.
I know for myself, I was never gonna get myself to get to the point where, I was having to struggle for, a place to live, things like that, So I was
Mhm.
always doing something, to at least keep me on my toes. And then I've found that this company. So I was like, all right, guess I'm doing this for a while now. So
Yep. Work. Do you plan? Is that what you plan on doing, just for the, or do you have an idea what you're gonna do in the
um
long run?
so it's with my job, being a sales manager, it's kind of the entry level manager position at the company. You
Mhm.
can progress to senior manager levels, then go into like corporate and things like that too. Um, which I know a lot of people do it and they're very successful for it.
Yeah.
And because it's so new, I've never really seen or tried branching out or to see where my experience could get me. So at least for the next few years, definitely.
And do you plan on just being out in New England? Is that going to be your? Because I imagine like being your stomping grounds your whole life. I mean, do you plan on staying there, or do you have any other places on your radar?
For right now, staying here is the plan. Since I just got married, we're gonna start
Congrats,
having
by the way.
Oh, thank
For,
you.
yeah.
We
Oh,
want
be
to be
sure to
close.
upload your wedding registry so that way everybody can buy you something.
Most people got stuff off of it, but yeah, please do.
Okay.
There's one thing on there is like LED lights for the back of your TV that I put on. It was like the one thing I put on, and she put on the rest, and no
Yeah.
one bought it. I was like, all right, yeah, that's fair. Um, no, but because we want to start having a family, we want to be close to either her side or my side. And my parents are down in Myrtle Beach now. But like, I don't really want to go down to Myrtle Beach. So
Yeah, Dirty Myrtle.
no, exactly. So it's good. It's a nice area. It's expensive.
Mhm.
But getting the job done for now. And I love the weather. I love the 4 seasons.
Mhm.
Can't really change that. So
Yeah, definitely can. I miss that too.
I was looking at the weather for Phoenix today, because my wife brought something up. She was talking about Phoenix and like heat stroke and something.
Yeah,
So I looked it up. I'm like, oh, what is the temperature? And it got up to 109 there. And I'm like, oh, never mind. I'm staying right here.
and that's like somewhat cool. Like one of the cooler days we've had the past 2 weeks. Like it's been 115, pretty consistent this past week.
It's absolutely insane. It's been hot here. It's been about 90, but the humidity is so terrible. You
I,
know,
I,
um,
I would still take it, which
no,
is
yeah. I've never really experienced the dry heat, so
yeah,
I
dude.
don't
It just it beats on you, man. It's like you don't get wet, obviously, but you feel it. It's very it's I don't want to say heavy because that's what people use for humidity.
no, yeah. But it
But
just I don't really know the word for it, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, and you know what's crazy is Phoenix is one of the fastest growing cities in the country. People are still moving here regardless of what we're talking about.
I know a few people that have moved to Phoenix just because it is such a growing city for like entrepreneurs, things like that, for business people. So
Yeah, it is a very like, Arizona's a gem. I think that's just now. It's like the secret hiding spot that's now no longer a secret
yeah,
because there's a lot of like the MMA scene's really big out here. Stand up comedy's really big out here. There's a lot of people groups like from every walk of life that I know of, and then they're starting to. There's a lot of rumors that like some Hollywood companies and film crews that they're going to move out here to Arizona to do stuff just because the California like just running businesses and doing any ventures are tough out there. So like Scottsdale, which is our big city, our rich city, it's like our Beverly Hills. There's a lot of people moving there to do whatever ventures they have.
and so much room to expand too. You get land for cheap and just build on it. I feel like it'll be the next Las Vegas.
It wouldn't surprise me, especially because like Vegas is literally right next to us, so it's it would just that presence would expand too.
How far is it from you?
About 6 hour drive, six
Oh
seven
yeah,
hour drive.
that's not bad. No.
Oh yeah, that is one thing I noticed too. Now that you mentioned, isn't it crazy how like the last 5 6 years Vegas has just become a like it's been like on the national radar. It's just growing. It has sports teams that are winning championships and this and that.
Oh yeah. 'Cause who on Do you watch a lot of hockey at all or no?
Not really. I got a little bit. I started to get into it a little bit when I saw the Florida Panthers were in the championship, and then the Oilers like almost pulled that comeback off.
Oh yeah. I was praying for it. I was really praying for it. Those Panthers, they just piss me off. I'm a big Bruins fan, so
Oh, okay. So are the Panthers? Are they? You say that because the Panthers are like the Chiefs. They become like they're starting to win so much that everybody hates them, or is it just because the Florida
yeah. I
Panthers cost you
well, I
guys?
think that's exactly what it was. Especially with the Bruins, it was 2 years in a row where they knocked us out of the
Mm,
playoffs. So we're
yeah.
like, all right, fuck you, Panthers. So I'm starting to sound like people against the Patriots fans.
It's true. It's true though. Isn't that funny how we got to grow up watching everybody hate the Patriots, and then now we're watching the Chiefs become the same thing.
No, exactly. I put the blame on me. Because I grew up in New York territory. Jets Giants. So as soon as I move up to Massachusetts, Patriots start losing. I'm like, all right, so maybe I'm the bad luck. So. Still love football. I'm excited for football season.
Yeah, dude. And NCAA, the college football game, is coming back too.
Do you know when the release date is on that?
I think it's tomorrow, actually.
Really?
Yeah, it's because people are posting memes about the 2014. That was the last year they had the game. They're making jokes about how now you can rest easy, and like there's a cover of that game like in heaven or something.
So yeah, it must be very soon. I don't really play too many video games anymore.
Yeah, same. Kind of. It's like I mean, it makes more sense for you because you're a married man, you're settled down, so like you're responsible. I'm just like a bachelor, just still doing whatever in my 20s. Like for me,
so I would still be gaming if I was bachelor, but yeah, I think it's if I'm not working, we're either going out with our friends, things like that, going on dates. So definitely being, held down. Well, I wouldn't say held down. If she watches this, I didn't mean held down. No, it's just a different life,
Yeah.
And I'm completely content with it, so that wouldn't change.
Now, since you are married, I know the jokes always surround it, but maybe you could shed more light on it. Do you feel like your freedom has kind of been restricted back again, or how do you interpret that?
We have. That's the one question everyone asks us. Be like, how does it feel to be married now? We've lived together since 2020. In the same bed. We got our own apartment in 2021. So that was just life, and now we have rings and legally married. So it's I don't feel held down. She'll go out with her friends, I'll go out with my friends. That's never, we're never on each other's nerves for things like that. So because everything I want to do or she wants to do, we want to do together. So it's
okay. Well, that's good to hear. That's always nice to see some people have it figured out.
No, yeah, it just came naturally. It's never something we had to work for. But I think if anyone from the New York watches this, so you probably don't know this. So we had, I don't know what you guys had on the baton. We had payphones that we can call from.
Yeah, we had them too.
And because of COVID, they were free for us. So you can make 10-minute phone calls, for free as much as you want. But the problem is after the 10 minutes, the call just drops. So what I did every single day, I would sit by these payphones. There was 4 of them, or 3, 2. I don't know. There was only a couple of them for the entire ship. I would be down there every single minute of the day on those payphones, just calling her like 10 minutes, drops. Okay, I'll call her right back. Then I'll let someone else get in line. I'll just sit there for hours, just waiting just to call again. So everyone always knew where to find me at those times of the day. Like come late at night, I was always just by the payphone. So, and I like to thank COVID too. I make this joke to her a lot as well. It locked her inside, so she couldn't find any other guys while I was deployed. So
that's one way of looking at it.
Oh yeah. But yeah, it was thankful of COVID, just for that reason. But
yeah, that's something you don't hear every day too. Thankful for COVID.
No, yeah. Well, I think you guys had it the same way. We didn't really know what was going on in the world.
Yeah. Like we didn't. I mean, we understand what happened now, but like when it was going on, I think we understood it, but we really didn't understand. Like we weren't living in it, so we can't really comprehend the full grasp.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people talk about, be like, oh, remember during COVID, we watched this, this, and this was the big thing. I'm like, no, I wasn't on this planet during COVID. So
literally, dude, like it's crazy to think that our cohort, I know some people probably have unique experiences. We definitely have a very unique experience. Like the whole world changed. Everybody had to live like this. We know what it's like. But in a weird way, we don't. We were on a ship that whole time.
Exactly. And then when we landed, the entire world was different, and it's never been the same since. So
yeah, I remember talking about that, thinking like December 12th, 13th was like the last day we came on. And then 6 months later, July of 2020, it's like the world, like you said it, it's such a mundane statement, but it's so much weight behind it. The world was literally not the same thing from that 6 months period.
And I remember getting off ship and they made us put masks on the beach. And I was like, why are we wearing masks? on a beach. It was ridiculous. So
yeah, it was weird times to go through, and then weird times to get out as well.
yeah, exactly. Just a weird time, and hopefully things start to go back to normal, especially with the market, inflation, things like that. I think that's been the worst part about it. So
yeah, the economy is very. I think the economy's okay, but the inflation's definitely we didn't brace for that or
no,
didn't expect that.
we were looking at houses back in 21 instead of renting. We didn't end up pulling the trigger on anything, and then everything skyrocketed. Be like, all right, guess we're renting for the time being. So
Yeah, how are the? I assume were you looking for homes up in New England?
no, yeah. So around the Massachusetts area, it's I don't really know what you think is expensive for housing. I don't know.
I know
Really.
most of the homes in Arizona right now, because Arizona's really expensive for real estate. They're about 4s, 5s usually.
Yeah, so you can get a shack for about 4,000 or 400,000, and like
Okay.
2-bedroom, 800 square feet in a bad neighborhood for 400,000 up here.
Oh Lord.
So to get anything reasonable, you're looking at like 500-600, which isn't a decent neighborhood, not the craziest thing, but you'll get 2-3 bedrooms, 2 baths, things like that. So, and they're all old houses. Where I am now, it's very historical. All the pilgrims landed right on Plymouth,
Yeah.
which isn't too far from here. So all the houses are from the 1800s. So
Mm.
they all look haunted and old amenities, things like that.
But yeah, homes are expensive.
No, yeah,
Where we left off.
homes are very expensive.
I mean, I suppose if you want to go to Alabama or like Kansas, I mean, they're not that bad. But then again, probably
You're
cheap
living
because
in Alabama and Kansas, yeah.
yeah. It was so funny because I looked into because there's a lot of there's some places in some countries where they'll pay you money to move out there or they'll give you money to leave, and there are some cities in the U.S. that are doing that too. But they're like they'll pay you to be a remote worker, and it's usually like a smaller town in like Indiana or Kansas. And I heard that this was so funny. It was like Topeka, Kansas, of all, or like some like the one big city in Kansas. I think they're it got so bad to a point where they were advising like illegal immigrants or like offering incentives for them to come to that city because just nobody's living there anymore. So it's like you have all
Oh,
these states
jeez.
that are like, we don't know who's coming across. We need to keep, we need to keep people at bay with who's coming in our cities. And Topeka's just like, dude, give us anything you got.
We need people. We need an economy.
Yeah.
Even if it's
Time we're
my
at
back
two.
is sweating.
Sweating right now.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I have central AC in my apartment, but I feel like it's just not working the way it should. I think it's just because it's so humid out, it's just not cooling down as much as it should right now. So
No, yeah, I feel you. Is there anything that you thought that you could think of that you wanted to talk about or that was on your mind before you came on?
I had 2 things on my mind. You changing the name of the podcast and me being the first person on your podcast after a president attempts assassination. So no, no, I didn't really have anything on my mind. I do have one bone to pick.
Bone, yes.
You did your podcast with Joey Carone.
I did do one. Yeah.
You cropped me out of that photo
Yeah.
that you used for him.
Okay.
I was gonna use that photo out of spite today, but
What?
no,
We gotta use it now. We gotta use your half of it.
we could do that if you, or you
I
could
would
just do
love
the
to
full
do
one
that.
now.
Oh my god. So if I remember it right, Joey asked me to do that because he said he didn't know if you were photogenic or like if you didn't want to be put on there. Which I guess we could have asked you.
No, that's completely fine. I saw that. I'm like, that is so funny. I didn't know if you just wanted a picture of him. I'm like, all right, that's a good photo, because I'm in it too. So
Yeah. That's so fun. Well, now I got to put it. Oh,
we could use that one. If you want the full photo, I could find that for you.
yeah, that would probably work because I don't know if I have that if I do have it, it's probably just Joey's half and not your half of the picture.
Oh, yeah, or I'll just send my half. You could just piece them together.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Well, now we got to get your side of the story from that picture because we didn't talk about that yet.
Oh, geez, I do not remember that at all. All I remember that was Philippines. Philippines fucking sucked, as
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
Possibly the worst place on Earth to ever go. Bugs the size of minivans over there. So,
Yeah, dude, like,
um,
land the time that, or what is it? The land that time forgot, something like that?
oh yeah. But there's a couple photos from that day. There's one of me holding like a mortar tube with like 4 Filipino Marines next to me, and I just look like a giant next to them. I'm like, I'm not a big guy at all in any means, but I just look massive compared to these people.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't remember that day. I remember I have a picture of Joey like with a machete, I think, just you know, cutting down some weeds or something like that.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, that mortar position, that was a fun one. We
Mm.
have some videos of me dropping rounds there, and the Filipino Marines dropping all the rounds that they had. So
Sick. Yeah.
that was a cool time.
Yeah. It was interesting because it was I mean, like, that was like I don't wanna say the height of it, but I don't know, like, because the last half of our time in, you were known as the armor, but then this time in, you're in the 81s, you're the Whitman Rangers, you're
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I was the what did they call gun two? It was not the main gun. I can't
adjusting
remember.
gun.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
what was it? The
The adjusting gun.
the adjusting gun. Yeah. So I was the person dropping the rounds on the adjusting guns, killing the water buffaloes.
Yep.
So
Who was it Harrion who was the FO, or who was,
yeah, Harry ended up going FO. I think on that deployment.
okay, yeah, yeah, because somebody was mentioning, yeah, I think that's how that story originated, because they were looking over and then they saw the round come over and then they
Yeah,
just see the buffalo running away.
I wish I saw that. I've always wanted to see the perspective of FOs because I feel like that'd be really cool watching the rounds drop. But
Yeah.
you know, something about dropping the rounds, you know, actually holding them, that was the coolest thing. So
Yeah, the power of God is in your hands.
exactly. I think I did the math one day. I was only 81s for, half my time. Um, but I did like the math of how expensive each round was and the amount that I've estimated dropped. And it was like more than what people make in, like 10 years in their life of
Yeah.
taxpayer money,
Yeah.
just for training. So,
Mhm. Do you know how much 81 millimeter mortar, like the HE round costs?
uh, geez, I want to say like 300 per round.
Like $300?
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
it?
maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's like 6. I don't remember. This was years and years ago.
Okay.
Um, but yeah,
Well,
so
inflation, we'll save 600-700. We'll just
yeah, 6, 700. Myself dropping a single round out of a mortar tube. I think I did the math. It was close to like 1,000 or 2,000. So you can
yeah,
do the math from that way, and just the amount of how ridiculous that price is. So
yeah. I think I need to shut up a little bit for this show because I'm interested in, like, the fact that, like, the rounds are that cheap. People are gonna think I'm like some crazy incel, or I'm gonna do something crazy with it. Like, you can get it for that cheap.
oh wow, I've tried looking into getting like a decommissioned round.
Yeah,
But those are fucking expensive. Like
really?
I was looking at one website, it's called like ordnance.com, and you could get like decommissioned the World War II rounds and illumination rounds, things like that. I think there was an illumination round on there like 2 weeks ago for something ridiculous. I think it was like 600 for it. I'm like, I don't have 600 to spend on, a piece of metal right now. So
Do you know how much? So being in it, like in the armory, do you learn the finances of what the weapon systems cost and like what it takes to repair them, overhaul them, whatever it may be?
So I don't really know the repair costs for each one. Whenever we ordered things, or whenever I forgot what the sheet called, but we pretty much had a sheet with like all the pricing for each weapon system, optic, SL3 piece as well. I know a mortar tube. I could be wrong, but I feel like each mortar tube is like $250,000.
Okay.
Just the tube itself. That doesn't include base plate, sights, anything like that.
Yeah.
The Saber systems, just the computer itself was like 1 million.
Hmm. Okay.
So we had 8 of those in our bay. So I did the math one day, and it was like $18 million worth of weapons and optics just in our bay alone that
Okay.
I had to be responsible for. That number is absolutely insane. Because
Yeah.
you look at 17, 18 million and be like, how much that can buy you? And I'm like, oh, I had that in this, 20-foot by 10-foot room. So
Yeah. Instead of putting money down for the house, you should have just put it down for the mortar system and just have the fancy
exactly.
souvenir.
Just give them a mortar system. Be like, here you go.
Yeah.
This will pay for half the house.
Yeah. I'm a learned doctor. I know how to use this. I'm an expert. I'm doing this for 30 years.
It's absolutely insane the amount of how much money goes into the military, because that was just one armory bay for one company, in the entire Marine Corps. The Marine Corps is small. Just think about the Army and Navy, things like that, just how much money's dumped into each of those. So
yeah, God bless. You really get to, it's crazy the stuff that we get to see being like in the trenches of like working for America or like working for the government. We get to see like how big it can be, I guess you could say.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Keep shaking all my stuff here. I hate having lulls like this because I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, even though I hardly have these.
How many episodes have you done now?
This will be 27 because Flannery's is 26, so I gotta edit and publish his. And yeah, so this will be 27. I don't know if I should do anything special for the 28th episode because it'll be 2-8.
You should.
I gotta think of who I should have on though. Who would be like what group I should get.
Did you do one with Charnes yet?
No, I haven't. I've been trying to get him on, but he's busy, so I can't.
Because I was going to say, you started the podcast with him. That'd be a 2-8 special.
It would be, yeah. I don't know. I'm having trouble trying to get him on, but
or just reach out to like the sergeant major of 2-8 or something like that.
Ooh, dude, that'd be nice. I imagine he'll probably be a little filtered just for the sake of because he still has a job in there.
No, exactly.
I may have to do that. I may have to put that up. I may have to call myself out on social media and say I'm going to message him to see if he'd come on.
This podcast is going to be on 2-8's radar. Maybe you shouldn't. I don't know what other people have said. I haven't watched every episode or listened to each one. So,
oh no, you're good. It's we don't have anybody who's active duty that we did recently. I don't think, or it's still in. I could be wrong.
Bridgeforth isn't, is he?
Oh yeah, I mean he's getting out soon, but yeah,
okay.
we had.
Yeah, I saw his haircut. I'm like, he's still in. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a lot of fun. That guy's just.
I like all the sneak peeks that you post on there too.
I'll appreciate it. I'm always curious to see how those play out because like with Instagram you can only post so much like within a short time frame, so I gotta make clips for those if I want to keep the Instagram active.
It limits the amount you can post a day.
Well, no, not the posts that you could do a day, but it's like think about what people are going on Instagram for. They're only going to be watching like maybe a minute.
Oh yeah,
for the reels. So it's like I mean, thankfully there's a lot of software like I can punch in the podcast episodes in and it'll clip it out. So I just have to keep that in mind. But like on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, I can post the like chunks of the episode, the full episode, stuff like that.
I can't believe the meme page. The pin post that you have. How much is that? How many likes does that one post have?
Which one?
Like 200,000 likes. The one.
Wait, there's a post that's hidden?
No, the Iranian president one.
Yeah, with Kobe.
Oh yeah. How many likes does that have now?
Let's see.
213,000.
Yeah, dude. Like
absolutely insane.
It's crazy how far we've come, man.
No, I know. I was thinking about it that day. I'm like, what do you think was going through Sewell's mind? Getting that many like notifications.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it because it gives me all the analytics for the posts that they don't necessarily release that. So like I'll show this one here. Pull it up. Yeah, so like Miller. I don't know if you can see that.
Shit, 6.8 million.
Yeah, dude. It's crazy because some people I hear people talk about that. Yeah, can you imagine getting a post with that many likes? Like I don't feel any different. Like it's just on the phone. I'm like,
oh, I know, but it's
that many millions of people have seen our degeneracy, and they get to see that we were on a rinky-dink tub. That's how we started out.
I saw that. I'm like, yeah, good for you, Soul. Making it in
Yeah,
this world.
yeah, dude. I mean, it doesn't. It's not exactly gonna get the girls' panties wet or anything like that.
No,
But
no, exactly. It's most people won't understand that. So
no, dude. It's like it's such an inside thing for all of us. It's
because I know my wife was asking about this podcast. I'm like, oh, it's pretty much just for the people, from our unit. It might outreach some more, but it's
yeah.
nothing crazy. It's just getting to know each other back again after so many years. So
Yeah, I'm trying to get it to where it'll grow bigger because we've had a couple people who like weren't from 2-8 on here. So
no, yeah, I've seen a few of those. Yeah,
yeah, we had I think the biggest one we've had was probably Tubes Up. Caleb was pretty I like that episode. It was fun because he went to because other than him running the Tubes Up page, he also went to Kabul airport when that whole thing went down.
really.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
I might have to listen to that one.
yeah, it's crazy because he we didn't go in like too in depth with how like in terms of it being a serious thing. I mean, I got to ask him what it was like, stuff like that, but we bounced back into because they were on a Mew before they went into Kabul, so it was more like we got to both talk about each other's Mews and how that was being on ship.
Huh. I didn't realize they were on a Mew. I thought they just got called over there from the States.
Yeah, I didn't really know all the logistics of it either, but then yeah, he brought it up.
Ah, that's interesting. See, I think that's one big thing about most of us now, peacetime Marine Corps.
Mhm.
For something like that to happen, that was absolutely crazy. I still remember seeing that news headline. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, it like brought out inner Marine me again. So
Hmm.
after so long, so
Yeah, it's nuts to see world events like that, and especially these last 5-6 years. I mean, I know in an average human being's lifetime, we're probably going to see a lot of stuff, but it's like, especially these past 5 years, it's interesting seeing the times that we live in.
yeah, I think it hit more home, for that event because it was so close to us. You know, like what was it? Was that 1-6 or
Oh,
what?
that was there.
What unit? Yeah, what unit was that went over there?
1-8
1. That's
and
what it was.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was 1-8 and then 1-6 or 2-6. I think that was there. There was another. There were two Marine units that were there.
yeah, and that's our sister unit to our 1-8. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, yeah, I think that's what was most crazy to me after seeing that all
Hmm.
unfold. So
Yeah, it's true, and it's crazy too now because like I've talked with some people, and then like so like being here in Arizona, all the Marines that I've met, there's a lot of them out here, surprisingly, but they're all West Coast. And so like one of my roommates, for example, he's good friends with someone who was a roommate with one of the guys who got killed at Kabul.
that's insane.
Yeah, dude. And then I talked with I did the episode with a Navajo guy. Like I named it Chief Blue Mountain. He's the Indian
I
Indian
saw
guy.
some of the sneak peeks of that one. Yeah,
Yeah, he knew one of the female sergeants, the Dominican one who got killed there too. Like, and it's interesting hearing their perspectives and just hearing them talk about that.
and I think that's one big thing about the Marines too. Everyone, it's so big. There's so many people in it, but you always know someone who knows another person. Like one of my buddies who I work with, um, one of his best friends, I think he was in 1-6, like same time during us as well.
Uh-huh.
So I know a lot of the people that, he went to the field with every single day. I'm like, that's so strange that,
Yeah.
our lives just crossed like that. So
Yeah, it's so big, but it's also so small, like small world kind of vibe.
exactly. So
Yeah.
I gotta go food shopping. That's on my
Good.
agenda tonight.
Boot shopping.
No, food shopping. Food
Oh,
shopping.
oh, food shopping. Yeah, stock up on
I,
the groceries.
I gotta get cat litter and a couple other things. So I got
uh,
3 cats. I'm turning into a crazy cat guy. So
yeah, I was about to ask, are you a cat guy now? What's the
I so they are just so easy to manage. So we travel a lot right now. We always planning a trip every few months. All my family is South Carolina, Florida, Texas.
yeah.
Um, the cats, they're just so easy. We could just have one of our friends come over, put food in their bowl once a day, and call it a day.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I got 3 of them now. So they're easy though. They're very nice cats. They don't hiss, they don't bite, anything like that. So you gotta just sit there. So
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Because you usually hear a lot about, I mean, I know there's always like a stigma of people hating on like guys who have a lot of cats just because they can be very, very narcissistic pets.
no, yeah, trust me, I didn't want them. But then we got one, and then we got that one's sibling, and then one was gonna go to a pretty much like a kill shelter. So we took that one as well.
Oh,
So
okay.
I never liked cats before having them. So
Yeah.
we'll get a dog eventually. Once we have a house, a yard, things like that,
Hmm.
a suitable living arrangement for a dog. So
Yeah. What do you have a preference on the dog breed?
not really. My wife wants something small.
Mm.
I'd rather medium size. I don't need something crazy large. Not
Yeah.
just in general. I don't need anything. I don't want a chihuahua,
Mhm.
but I got no preference.
All right, I feel it. I'll sit in. Time we got here, 2:20. So, yeah.
No, it's 5 o'clock.
Oh, is it? Oh shit. Time went by fast for me here. I gotta
um,
skipped all of lunch and dinner doing this show, man. We've been on a long time.
how long do they usually go for you with other people?
uh they've varied, but like the past 4 or 5 episodes, they've been about this length, only about an hour and some change sometimes.
Really have.
Yeah, it just depends on the vibe and the person, like for the story. Like I've done episodes as short as a half hour, and then I think the longest one we did was 2.5, 3 hours.
Oh yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't think I can make it to
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I did that one. I think might have been Tubes Up. That's the longest one. Either him or Bowman, because Big Bowman, Robert Bowman. Like that, I remember that one being pretty long, but I'd have to take a look through the archive again.
That's interesting. But I got nothing else for you, buddy.
I get it.
No.
Well, so the ending remark before we go, tradition, whatever you want to call it. Uh, if there's anything you want to promote, any plugs that you want, follow you on social media, things like that, and then to anyone that's still to those still listening that are still in in the military, Marine Corps, you have to give advice to them.
All right. So I'm not going to promote anything.
Okay.
I don't got anything to promote.
Yep.
Advice. Oh, geez. Um, I would say, does this have to be in or going in?
That are in right now. I mean, if they're
In right.
going in, that pretty much counts. Yeah.
So, well, I could do both. I would say for going in, I think the biggest thing for me, I was nervous going into the military. It was total. I think everyone was, total change of life, everything like that. What you're
Yeah.
signing up for and everything. You'll regret it the rest of your life if you don't do it.
Hmm.
You know, um, I talk about how I would never go back, but I would never change the course of action. Of me going into there.
Yeah.
For those going in as well, or that are in right now. Oh, geez, you really stumped me on this one, Sewell. um, just get through it. Any field op, anything you got like that. Embrace the suck, because you'll be here 4 years after you get out. Looking back at those times, laughing, joking about it. Take lots of pictures too. When you told me to look for a photo, I was looking through all of them. I have more photos of Judd than I have myself being in the Marines.
Yes.
Which I think that's some of the best things. You're gonna make lifelong friends. You might not talk to them for years and years, but you could hop on a camera, phone call, something like that, and
Yeah. A podcast,
a podcast, anything like that. It'll be like just yesterday. From
Mhm.
your memory. So I think that's my biggest advice.
I love it.
Yeah.
So I'll have to ask too, just because you brought up or had the question of why me after a president was just almost assassinated yesterday. So, because I feel like a lot of people may have this in the back of their mind, but if there's people hesitant about going in or they're nervous about going in because they see all the turmoil in the world, maybe we go to war, maybe we don't. There's politics that are really bad, in today's day and age. If people are just worried about the big ticket stuff, what are your words to them?
um, it's I feel like once you are in, you're not really going to look at the big picture. You're going to look at your day to day. You're going to look at the guys next to you. You're going to look at your unit, your company, instead of what's going on outside of that. I remember when we were in Oki, we had that scare with North Korea. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like, all right, so everything we've been training for, all those workups that we do, field ops, things like that, could have all led to something, especially with when we were on the Mew with Iran as well. That entire thing changed. You kind of just gotta go with the flow. You don't really think about it when you're in the moment. Be like, all right, now it's time to get shit done. So, so I really wouldn't be too nervous about that. If that's something that's on your mind, like I was saying before, that you want to go serve your country in any branch, I would say go for it. You could do 4 years, get out, but then you'll look back at it as just as good memories for the rest of your life. So
I love that. Very well, very stoic and very well put.
Thank you. I've been working on my speech. So
All right. Well, Brust, we'll keep in touch, I guess. Just outside of this, do whatever.
No, of course. If you're ever up in Boston, I know some good bars around here. So
you got to take me to the Gillette Stadium bars. Do they still do that at Gillette Stadium? They just have the bars and they're open to the public?
So it's called Patriots Place. My favorite part about moving up here and getting the job where I am now, I work about 5 miles down the road from Gillette Stadium. So I always heard about Foxborough, Massachusetts. Be like, where the fuck is Foxborough, Massachusetts? And it's right next to my work. So it's a cool place to hang out. You got the stadium right in the back, all these bars, just a strip of them, which is good. So we could do that if you ever come up here. So
I want to do that when I go.
We'll do that then.
All right. I'll text you and bye, everybody.
All right. See ya.